What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Big TDs and Tangents. I'm your co-host, Dan Kornhauser, along with my co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Mike, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day.
How you doing, Dan? We got another big week of games where who won last week, Dan?
You won last week. You got 6 right. I
Damn,
got
that's
5
horrible,
right.
by the way. Don't tell me. Just tell people who won and by how much.
That puts you up by 1.
Well,
and before we dive in, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe wherever you are. Share us on social media. We appreciate it greatly. Mike, are you ready?
Always ready. So you want to start off with the game of the week, the New Orleans Saints against the Buffalo Bills. Right now, this is a line that has dropped because it was 16.5 before today. And I'll tell you, I mean, this probably would have to be in the 20s for me to consider. The Saints look horrible. I mean, they played a couple average teams close at the start of the year, but I think they showed what they were against Seattle. Now they've got to come all the way back across the country to play the Buffalo Bills. I'm taking the Bills, giving the 15.5, Dan.
I'm going to take Buffalo as well. This line could have been what it was earlier. I think it was 16.5, 17, something like that. It could have been 17, 18 even. I still would have taken Buffalo.
So what would this line have to be to take the Saints?
20, maybe 21.5. Yeah, it's I'm that off on New Orleans. They're the worst team in the NFL. I have them at the bottom of my power rankings.
They're headed for the number 1 pick, possibly. So there you go. Next up, we'll let you go first. We're going to go to the bottom of this screen, and we're going to go to Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are favored by 1.5, Dan.
No, the Seahawks are minus 1.5.
Go ahead. Actually, are they? Because this morning, the Cardinals were favored by 1 point.
I saw that. It's swapped now. Earlier, actually, I think it was Arizona minus like 1.5 or 2.
Yeah, I think it was 1.5. So this is flipped completely.
And I'm glad it did. I'm going to take Seattle at minus 1.5. Arizona's got all kinds of troubles. Marvin Harrison Jr. is dropping passes. I don't know what's going on between him and Murray. It's not quite as bad as what Jacksonville has between Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., but Seattle's better. Better defense, better offense.
I'm taking Seattle also. They're 2-1 with Sam Darnold at quarterback. I know he has not played great, but he played pretty well against the Saints. But I also know that's the Saints. But Kenneth Walker III is a difference maker on the ground. The only thing that worries me, the Cardinals are very good against the run. I think they're giving up less than 80 yards a game on the ground. I think Seattle's the better team. I think Seattle wins the game. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That says at Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that correct, Dan? All right. Yep. So when I look at this game, I can tell you this. Carson Wentz, I don't trust. But an old Aaron Rodgers, I don't trust either. What I do trust is that the Vikings offensive line, they got Darashall back last week, and he only had to play about half a game because the game against the Bengals was over at halftime. But the Vikings defense is very good. And I think Kevin O'Connell's a very good coach. I think the Steelers, they're struggling to find their identity because that identity is supposed to be running the ball. I don't know that that's there right now. And I don't know you can depend on a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers week in and week out. I'm going to take the Vikings and give the 2.5 points. If this was 3.5, I would take the Steelers. But at Vikings 2.5, I'm going to go Vikings.
Now, this game is taking place, actually. This is the international game.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Dublin, Ireland. All right. It doesn't really matter then. I'm taking the Vikings either way.
Yeah, I think that makes this more of a coin flip than anything. If this were like in Minnesota, I would probably say Minnesota. But just because it's a coin flip and it's kind of weird, I'm going to go with Minnesota. I just don't trust – I don't trust Wentz, but he looked pretty damn decent in his first start this past week. And if Mason keeps running the way he's running, he scored a couple of touchdowns last week. That's right up. That'll work out well for Minnesota. And with Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers is averaging pretty much, I think, like 6.8 or 6.7 yards per attempt. And that's pretty much what he did with the Jets last year. That's pretty much what he is at this point. This isn't the same old Aaron Rodgers. The line is right in that good spot. If it were 3.5, I'd go Pittsburgh.
If JJ McCaffrey was playing, I would probably, or McCarthy, I'm sorry, I would go with the Pittsburgh Steelers probably. All right, next up, the Washington Commanders, Dan, at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are favored by a point. Who do you like here?
I'm taking Washington, and it doesn't even matter if Jaden Daniels plays or doesn't play, because as much as let me put it, as little as I think of Marcus Mariota as a starting NFL quarterback at this point in his career, he played really well last week, scored a couple of touchdowns. I think he can do that again this week. And let's be completely honest, after last week's debacle for Atlanta, getting completely blown out, shut out, embarrassed by Carolina, I don't know how anybody could pick them this week.
Yeah, but how could anybody pick Carolina last week?
That's fair.
I mean, so it's the NFL, and all the time stuff like this happens. And I'm not convinced the Commanders are that good this year. I am one person that actually I think Marcus Mariota is a decent NFL quarterback, but just decent. And the thing is, if Michael Penix starts out slow, do they bring in Kirk Cousins? Because I'm telling you this, I'm betting Atlanta if I know Kirk Cousins is playing this game, but I don't know that. So I'm going to take Washington. And next up, we've got your Detroit Lions against the Cleveland Browns. And my concern here at -10, Dan, is this. The Cleveland Browns defense is one of the best defenses in football. The front line's very good with Myles Garrett. The backside of that defense with Denzel Ward is very good. Detroit's coming off a huge win, which would make this a trap game. But I can't do it, Dan. I'm taking Detroit, and I'm going to give the 10 points just because I don't see Cleveland scoring more than 17 points. And even though their defense is really good, I think this will look a lot like that Ravens game where it's close for about 2.5 quarters. But then the fact that the offense for Cleveland is so bad and it's going 3 and out all the time, I think Detroit just wears down that defense, and I think Detroit pulls away late.
So you're going to take Detroit -10. This line is a little crazy. And, maybe it's not because, like you said, this could be just like that Ravens game and suddenly Detroit just blows the doors open going into the fourth and whatnot. But I'm going to take Cleveland. That front four, that front line is just ridiculous. And like you said, led by Myles Garrett. We got a rookie starting at guard. We got a first-year starter at the other guard spot in Mahogany. We've got, Glasgow at center, but he's all right. He's not a Pro Bowler or anything special. These guys can cause trouble up front. Taylor Decker's on the injury report with a shoulder injury. He's probably going to play, let's be honest, but he did not practice today. So that's something to keep an eye on. If Taylor Decker, the left tackle, is not playing, that's going to make life a little harder for Goff. I think the Lions win this game, but I think it's going to be less than 10. So I'm going to go with Cleveland.
All right, Dan, next up, we got the Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots. Now, the Panthers looked like an entirely new team last week, and the New England Patriots looked like the New England Patriots, which means I think they're well coached. I think Drake May is a decent NFL quarterback. He may develop to be better than that. But when I look at this game with a point spread of 5.5, I remember when we did the early preseason shows, and we both thought Carolina did a lot to improve. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Carolina in 5.5 here. Not necessarily saying I'm going to think they're going to win the game. I think 5.5 points is just too many against a Patriots team that hasn't really got it done yet. And, Drake May has looked good, but they don't seem to score a lot of points, even though he's completed 73% of his passes.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed you went with Carolina because I thought I was going to have something on here. But yeah, no, I'm going to take Carolina as well. 5.5. I'm not comfortable with that line, and I don't know what to think about this New England team quite yet. I don't think they're good enough, even against a team like Carolina, who I think they're pretty evenly matched with, all things considered. I don't think they're 5.5 points better. New England might win the game by 3-4 points, maybe even 5. But yeah, no, 5.5 is too much.
All right, Dan, we got the Chargers at the Giants. The Chargers were favored by 6.5, and Jackson Dart is starting, Dan. What do you think?
That's right. Jackson Dart's first start. Giants fans are very excited about it out here. I asked my buddy Bob, and he is looking forward to it. He understands that Russell Wilson is not it, probably on the end of his career. He thought that they would go with Jameis Winston, at least this early in the season before they went to Jackson Dart, because it sounded like they wanted Dart to sit for at least, a few more weeks. But from the coaching staff and everything else reporting wise, it sounds like the coaching staff was ready to get him out there. So it's a rough spot for the rookie because the Chargers defense is really good. And I think regardless of whether or not Khalil Mack plays, which he did leave last week's game with an injury, and his status for this week is still very much up in the air. But even if he doesn't play, I don't think this Giants team is much of a match for the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers at minus, what is it, minus 6.5?
Oh, yes, I believe it is. And we got Michael Houghton picks the Chargers by 15, and he says he only lost 5 last week. Maybe we ought to have Michael on to pick the game.
We might have to have Mike on.
But because you didn't do very good, because I only missed 1. All right, so this is what I think. I think Jackson Dart will energize them. I think this, though. I think Brian Daboll has completely failed as a head coach here. And the reason I say that is this. They brought him in because he's the guy that supposedly developed Josh Allen. So he was supposed to be the guy that developed Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones' first year was much better. But then he went back to being the same Daniel Jones. And the biggest thing here, I think, the biggest negative you could say about Brian Daboll is look what Daniel Jones is doing now when he gets away from Brian Daboll. The other thing is this is a Giants defense that I thought the pass rush would be much better. I thought this defense would be good. They haven't been good. I'm going to take the Chargers. It scares me a little bit because I think the Chargers are due to have a rough outing, but I'm going to take the Chargers, and I'm going to go ahead and give the 5.5 points here.
We do want to keep an eye on the Chargers offensive line. They were without, I think, 2 or 3 starters this past week because guys got hurt during the game. Mekhi Becton got hurt with a concussion. Trey Pipkins was in and out with a knee injury. Bradley Bozeman, their center, with a back injury. So if multiple starting offensive linemen are missing this game, that Giants front might feast. So that's something to keep an eye on and see what the line looks like later on in the week. But yeah.
All right, the defending world champion Philadelphia Eagles will travel to Tampa in a rematch, Dan, of the 1979 NFC Divisional Playoff game won by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-17. You got to go watch it. It's a really good game.
Great game.
Philly is favored by 3.5. And Dan, right now, if Tampa Bay was healthy, I would pick them, but they're not.
They are not. And to that end, Mike Evans is going to miss a few weeks, unfortunately. But good news, Chris Godwin Jr., who hasn't played yet with an ankle injury, was a full participant in practice today. So they might be losing Mike Evans, but they might be getting back Chris Godwin Jr. And luckily for them, Emeka Ekbuka has been lights out thus far as a rookie wide receiver for them. So I think they'll be just fine on that front. Fine so much so that I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
All right. I'm taking them too because I think they're the better team and they have the better quarterback.
Damn, man. I thought I had you on that one too. I could have sworn you were going to go with Philly.
Oh, you're such a baby all the time. All right. Next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 7.5 points. Dan, how can the Houston Texans be favored by anybody by 7.5 points the way they're playing right now?
I mean, the only reason they're favored like this is because they're playing the Titans. Other than that, that's the only thing that I can think of because this team is not 7 points better than anybody. And honestly, I don't think Tennessee is even that bad compared to Houston. But Houston's offense, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if their offensive coordinator is in over his head. I don't know if the scheme's just not fitting some of their players. I don't know what it is. Mike, if you could lend us some of your head coaching expertise on that front, because I watched parts of this game, both of these, the Texans game last week, and I don't know what I'm looking at. There's nothing. The offensive line sucks. The play calling is weird.
Which team are you talking about? Both?
No, I'm talking about Houston. Houston's terrible.
Because Tennessee's is not that great anyways. And I'm supposed to go first here anyways. But
Houston's worse.
I'm going to take Tennessee because the thing is this. C.J. Stroud was awesome his rookie season. Last year, not nearly as good. This year, worse than that. There's a regression here. And I doubt that it's C.J. Stroud. So to me, I think you're looking offensive coordinator. I think they've got a good head coach, but that head coach, D'Amico Ryans, is more of a defensive guy. So I'm going to take the Titans into 7 points here because I don't trust that the Texans can score more than 17 points anyways. Damn, this is where Dan freezes up every show, Dan. Come on. I need to just have Michael call in. Houston by 3. Tennessee sucks bad. I hate to tell you this, Mike, but both of them suck bad, and it works out very good for your Indianapolis Colts. So they're in that division, and it looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars are really the only competition the Indianapolis Colts are going to have right now. Also, we got an update in the bottom of the ninth. The Cincinnati Reds have come from 2 runs down to tie the game at 2 apiece. All right, next up, we'll continue on until Dan gets back on. And Michael, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 3.5 points. This is the first big road test for the Colts. The Colts are the surprise team in the NFL season to me at 3-0. And I wouldn't have thought they would be as surprised if you would have told me Anthony Richardson. I mean, let's face it, if Anthony Richardson was playing, they'd probably be 0-3. But Daniel Jones has played well. Jonathan Taylor leads the NFL with 338 rushing yards. And the thing about the Colts is if you don't think they're for real, I mean, the offensive line has played out of their minds. The defensive line is very good. DeForest Buckner and those guys. All right, the secondary, you got a couple little holes, but I think the secondary is pretty solid also. They can run the ball. And I think Ty Warren was, and I said this, if you watched any of our shows pre-draft, I thought Ty Warren was the best player in the NFL draft last year. And Ty Warren has been an outright stud so far. Hold on, we got another comment. Get this down here. He said, yes, the Colts look good. Hey, and we've got from South Africa. Hold on here. From South Africa, we have a comment, and that is from Shumani.
Here we go.
Follow Kobe? I don't know. But Michael, if anybody's defense holds up, they can win. The question is, I have not made my pick yet. It was Dan's turn. Dan, what do you think? Colts at the Rams. Rams minus 3.5.
Colts at Rams. Rams minus 3.5. I'm going to go with. This. You know what? I'm going to go with the Rams on this one. As good as Indianapolis has been, I think eventually they turn into a pumpkin. I've seen Dan Jones' whole career up until this season in New York.
In New York, yeah. In New York, with guys that are a joke as coaches and no offensive line, remember.
Eventually, all good things come to an end. And the Rams defense is right. And I think this is, after last week's heartbreak for the Rams, I think they'll be focused on their opponent this week and take that dub.
By 3.5 points?
By more.
All right. Man. I think you were very disrespectful to Michael's Colts here. I mean, he's a Colts fan. And, I mean, if you match these teams up player for player, the Rams are better at quarterback. The Colts are better at running back. But the Colts are better on the O-line. The Colts defense is good. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football, and this game's on the West Coast in LA, and the Rams are coming off a horrifying loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to take the Eagles.
You're going to take.
Hey, wait a second here. This is the thing. Chumani says, I'm literally the only guy watching. Now, Chumani, if you were to go over to Twitter right now, you would find out that you're not the only guy watching. There's 392 right there live watching right now. So
Nice.
just so you know. And Michael's here too.
So wait, so you're going to take...
Hey, here, Chumani wants to know if we can help him out with some money for food. Sure we can, Chumani. After you talk shit to us, we're going to help feed you. You can pay your internet bill. Don't pay your internet bill. Don't pay your phone bill. Get up off your ass, get a fucking job, and you can just do it that way, Chumani. I mean, that's what I would suggest. What do you think, Dan? Do you think a dude that, is going to talk shit to us should probably come on and ask for money for food when he's on the internet, probably on his phone or a computer with his Wi-Fi? I mean, you got to make better choices in your life, Chumani. All right? You just got to. All right, so where were we here?
So you were taking the Colts, and then
I'm taking the Rams because I believe this. I believe if the Rams would have beat the Eagles, I would have taken the Colts. But since they didn't, I'm going to take the Rams. But I can tell you this, the Indianapolis Colts are a Super Bowl contender. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the San Francisco 49ers. And Chumani, get a job. 49ers minus 3.5. What do you think? And we know you got Pittman too. Hey, there you go. Michael says work for food and free internet. So, and literally, he doesn't realize that we don't push the live YouTube feed. So, on Facebook right now, there's like 600 people live. There's 392 on X. And there's also like, thousands worldwide that just want to see Dan freeze up. Dan probably needs to pay his internet bill also. So look at that ugly face. He just paused. All right. Michael says 49ers by 12. Now, the problem with that, Michael, is the quarterback for the 49ers. The 49ers are still waiting on the return of Brock Purdy. Now, that opens the door for Mac Jones to be his normal below average self. He's going to start against his former team. And I'd imagine 10 years from now, Mac Jones will have probably played on almost every team in the NFL. Jacksonville has forced 3 turnovers in each of its first 3 games under first-year head coach Liam Cohen. I don't think Liam Cohen can coach, but what the hell? The 49ers defense, I think, is the difference here. So I am going to take the 49ers minus 3.5.
I am also going to take the 49ers minus 3.5. That Jaguars offense has the potential to be a disaster.
It always does. They also had the potential of being really good because you never know about them. Next up, the Ravens at the Chiefs. So, Dan, who do you like here? Ravens at Chiefs. The Ravens have had 2 terrible losses. The Chiefs have had 2 terrible losses. Something's got to give. These are 2 teams that are favored to do something this year. And right now, the Ravens are favored on the road.
I had very high hopes for both of these teams this year. I was kind of hoping it would be Baltimore versus KC in the AFC Championship.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't we want to see the same teams year after year?
Well, no. What I was going to say is we would see Mahomes versus Lamar in the AFC Championship. And everyone would be picking Mahomes because they've done it every year for the last decade, seemingly. They always make the AFC Championship. They make the Super Bowl every other year. And everyone would be favoring the Chiefs. And then Lamar would go into KC, beat them, finally get to a Super Bowl, and quiet all the naysayers that say he can't do it.
But he can't do it. So
you can't really quiet. He might not be able to this year, but I'm going to take the Ravens in this game. The Chiefs they're a shell of their former selves. They can't keep.
But yet you still rank them as one of the 10 best teams in the NFL.
I do because I still give them the benefit of the doubt over the course of the season. And as they get healthier, I think they'll be fine. As the offensive line comes together, I think they'll get better. They seem to want to run the ball a little bit more this past week with their actual running backs, which was cool. It didn't amount to much, but at least they're trying. And Andy Reid and Mahomes and so on and so forth. But they're playing a very good football team whose defense has been struggling. This is not what the Ravens are about. They're going to want to turn it around. Maybe this game isn't 38-30 or whatever like the Ravens' last game was, but I think Baltimore comes out on top. I just don't think the Chiefs have enough answers on both sides of the ball to get the job done.
Yeah, and the Chiefs, both of these teams, neither one run the ball enough. They both just throw the ball all the time. If the Chiefs want to win this game, I think they could win it by trying to control the clock running the ball. I think the Ravens are the better team. Next up, we've got the Bears at the Raiders. I'll start this one off because this is a classic matchup. Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdowns in week 4. And now the next step is to get him to do it on the road and to do it in back-to-back weeks. The problem was, as a starter on the road, Williams was 1-8 with an 81 passer rating. Max Crosby will get a few sacks. The Raiders' defense is good. I'm going to take the Raiders.
You're going to take the Raiders. I am going to take the Bears.
Good. I'll get another game up on you.
I mean,
Joseph Michael says you're wrong again, Dan.
the Raiders' offensive line might be the worst in football. They can't open any holes.
Don't pick your nose on the air. Come on. Everybody just saw you pick your nose.
They can't run the ball. They can't protect Geno. When Geno's not turning the ball over, it still doesn't matter because they can't do anything else otherwise. I don't think Trey Tucker's going to go off like he did this past week. And honestly, I'm hoping, even though I'm a Lions fan, I'm hoping this is like the corner that the offense starts to turn, because it took Detroit a little over a year in Ben Johnson's offense to get to the point where they're dropping 30 points a week pretty much every week.
I'll tell you, I've already got people like Joe complaining about the nose picking, and we're going to have to actually suspend you like Jimmy Kimmel was suspended if this continues.
All right. That's all right. I'll be back soon. But yeah, I'm going to take Chicago. I think they'll put up. This will be another game like the Dallas game where they drop 20-something 30 points and the Raiders struggle.
All right, Dan, you obviously are drinking while picking your nose and picking the Bears. All right, Michael says Bears win because they just beat the Cowboys. I don't know why that would matter because the Cowboys suck. Next up, where are we at? Oh, speaking of the Cowboys, Packers at the Cowboys. What do you think, Dan?
So this is a fun game. This is going to be Micah Parsons' first game back in Dallas since getting traded very unceremoniously before the start of the season. And Jerry Jones has already said they're not going to do any sort of special introduction for Parsons. They're not going to do any like special thank yous.
Why would they?
Honestly, I don't know why. I mean, yeah, he was a great player for them statistically, but they didn't really win anything because of him. So I think those sorts of things are reserved for like guys who played for the team for a decade and were very successful and, have a lot of team moments in the playoffs and stuff like that. That's what those moments are for. Parsons is one of the best defensive players in the league, all that good stuff. But I don't know if someone just asked Jerry just to ask him or if Micah was someone asked Micah Parsons about it. I don't know how that came about, but yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why they would do that. I'm going to take Green Bay. Honestly, this line could have been double digits, and I still probably would have taken Green Bay. Dallas just isn't good. CeeDee Lamb is going to be on the IR with a high ankle sprain, probably going to miss at least 2 weeks. I think it could be closer to 6 weeks, the way these things tend to go. And their defense is just not good. We saw what just happened against the Bears this past week. Just things are not looking good in Dallas, and they might be going towards tank mode sooner than later. I'm going to take Green Bay.
All right, next up, I'm going to take Green Bay too, just because they're playing Dallas. Next up, the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, who are coached by a man that is gay, are -3 against the New York Jets. So I'm going to do this. Okay? I mean, this is horrible. A horrible Monday Night Football doubleheader.
How is it a Monday night game?
This is a battle of 2 0-3 teams because somebody, I guess at ESPN, thought these two teams might surprise people. Now, I think this. I think Mike McDaniel, I know that he's gay. I'm going to take the Jets -3. I'm not a big fan of Aaron Glenn, but I think he's still on the same team we all are. What do you think?
Now, Mike McDaniel's sexual orientation potentially aside.
Well, you have to take it into account, though.
Yeah, sure. That's all.
And Joe said he's just kidding and he loves you, Dan.
I know. These two teams, I think, are more evenly matched than it might look on paper.
And Michael says that the Dolphins have to win to stay afloat in the ocean. Both of these are at the bottom of the ocean. This is the Titanic, all right? This is Rose and whatever the dudes. They're both dead in the water.
I think that's New Orleans, but these
No,
teams
they're all down there together.
they're on their way down. They're in another sub that's going to implode. But anyway, I really want to take the Jets because this just feels like the kind of game where the Jets kind of sneak one away like they tried to do this past week. But who did you take? You took the Jets, right? You know what? I'm going to take the Dolphins. Mostly just because you took the Jets, and I don't want to do the same thing as you did, and I think Miami's better. And
Well, you did last week. That's why I won. You picked different than me. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals, who look a lot like Edinburgh High School, who Joe's Switzerland County Pacers will play this week. They'll battle the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 7.5 points, Dan. I'll let you pick it first because it's obvious who I'm picking.
I'm going to take the Broncos. I don't like this line, not one bit. However, the Bengals just aren't good right now. They're not good on defense. I hate their head coach.
Oh my God, the Pirates just beat the Reds in extra innings, 3-2.
Woo! Congratulations.
Shut up, Dan. They lost.
Yay, bad teams. Yeah, anyway, so back to a sport that people actually care about. I don't like the line of -7, but I do think the Broncos
It's
are
7.5.
7.5. But I think the Broncos are that much better than the Bengals. If Joe Burrow's playing in this game, I would pick the Bengals. I don't care what else would be happening around Joe. I would probably pick the Bengals in this one. But he's not. Browning's not it. Chase Brown's ass. Their offensive line still sucks. The defense
Wait a
sucks.
second. Why is Chase Brown ass?
Chase Brown?
Yeah.
Why is he what? Because they would rather play Samaje Perine, and Brown's averaging what? 3 yards a carry?
I would say this. I would say that there's probably more of an offensive line issue and a offensive schematic issue in play calling than it falls on Chase Brown.
Listen, I have Chase Brown. I was all in on Chase Brown coming into the season. I got him as a starter.
Okay, once again, you usually have to, Jonathan Taylor the last few years wasn't Jonathan Taylor. And then when they get it back, there you go.
Well, no, the Jonathan Taylor thing was mostly because he just always gets hurt and nicked up.
Well, and their offensive line wasn't as good.
But
could have something to do with why you get hurt too, Dan.
Huh?
I know you've never played football. You just sat on the bench while you got molested by your coach.
Nice.
But oh shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. Go ahead.
Yes, good job. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna take Denver at the end of the day. After all that.
Okay, I don't understand this. Michael says if my high school team replaced the Bengals offense, the Bengals would have a chance. Yeah, probably a better chance than what they're gonna have. It's Zach Taylor. He's a dumbass. All right, he's Opie Taylor, and you got to give me this, Dan. Even during the Super Bowl year, I was saying this. He sucks, and they need a new coach. But all right,
listen,
so
there were some times in that.
I apologize when they went to the Super Bowl, but I also in that apology said I still don't buy it.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they keep bringing this guy back. I just don't get it.
Look at all the guys that keep getting brought back in the NFL. All right, Dan, anything else you want to talk about before we
Yes. Real quick, couple of things. First, which good team or Super Bowl contender coming into the season are you most concerned about? And there's a lot of good choices. There's Kansas City, there's Denver, there's Baltimore, Cowboys. Well,
so I mean, you're going to ask me a question and give me 10 answers. And nobody thought the Cowboys were a possible Super Bowl team. Dan, that's stupid.
Well, you don't know any Dallas fans, but
no, I do know Dallas fans. That's why I said that was stupid.
So which team are you most concerned about?
I'm not really concerned about any of them because none of them are my team. So I really don't give rat's ass who goes to the Super Bowl, who doesn't. Because Joe Burrow's hurt season ended in Cincinnati already. I'm just doing this show because nobody else will do it with you.
Nice. Great job. You're such a sport.
I would say it would have to be Kansas City.
Kansas City? Okay. I'm going to go with Baltimore, mostly because even though I think they'll be fine.
I don't worry about them because they're in a division with the Bengals, Steelers, and Browns.
I think they'll be fine, but their defense is the worst in the league, and it's like they're the worst, period. And it's very unlike them. I don't know why you're going to have Derrick Henry if you're not going to give him the ball. He got 11 carries a couple games ago. He got 15 carries or something like that, maybe something like that this past week. It's not enough. Give this guy the rock 20 plus times and just bury teams. Nobody wants to tackle this guy ever. They don't. One-on-one, no one wants to tackle this guy, even still. So I don't know why they're not running the ball more. I don't know what's wrong with their defense. I don't know if it's missing guys like Matabuki, who didn't play this past week. I don't know if that's part of the issues or what's going on out there. But if their defense doesn't get significantly better towards the end of the season, it doesn't matter how many points this offense puts up. They're not going to do anything, and we're going to have another year of, oh, why can't Lamar Jackson do anything in the playoffs? And then people won't talk about how trash the defense was and how bad it's been all season.
Yeah, but you know what? When Lamar Jackson consistently throws 2 or 3 picks in every one of those games, it's hard not to blame him.
It's hard. He didn't play well against Detroit, and that concerns me. But that's where I'm at on that front. How about this is a fun one. I wanted to ask you about this last week, but I think this week is a lot more fitting. Which coach is on the hottest seat right now? Whose ass is on fire?
Well, there's many people's asses that are on fire.
Which NFL head coach's ass is on fire right now? Is it McDaniel? Is it Taylor?
It's McDaniel. I mean, but McDaniel has like Stephen Ross, the worst owner in the NFL, so he might survive. I would say the hottest seat is Brian DeBall, because if Jackson Dart doesn't get at least 5 or 6 wins, Brian DeBall's job is gone. And it should be, because he sucked.
For me, I'm going to go with Callahan, the Tennessee Titans head coach. I'm going to say Callahan because
I forgot he was even coaching in the NFL because he's with Tennessee. But he was terrible at Cincinnati, too. So
I was going to say, and he came from Cincinnati, and he's been terrible thus far in Tennessee. The offense has not gotten any better than it was last year at all, despite a more talented quarterback compared to Mason Rudolph and Will Levis last year. And it doesn't matter because the quarterback's he's looking like a rookie every week, which is, I guess, to be expected. But Tony Pollard's doing nothing on the ground. The rest of the offense is in shambles. Now Latham
the Reds just tied the game in the bottom of the 10th at 3.
Woo! Let's go Reds. And Callahan just gave up play calling duties, and he didn't give up the play calling duties to the offensive coordinator.
He gave it up to his daughter, didn't he?
He might as well have, because he gave it to his no-name quarterbacks coach. And maybe he did that because the quarterback coach and Ward are close, and he's the quarterback whisperer that Ward needs instead of the head coach. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. Yeah, I think it was because Callahan wants to oversee everything, which I don't think is much better. No offense to Titans fans.
Oh, no. Callahan is just in that position because of the nepotism of the NFL. I mean, his daddy coached in the NFL. He coached in college.
I think his daddy still coaches in Tennessee.
Yeah, because stuff works that way. Yep, Titan fans want him gone. Both my son and Becky's son, who live in Nashville, want to change now. It doesn't matter because Cam Ward's the quarterback, so they're screwed either way.
And that's the thing. They're killing this young man's career so early.
I also think Kevin Stefanski at some point has to be on the hot seat also.
I do too.
And especially their GM, what the hell is his name? Andrew Berry, who decided that they needed to get rid of Baker Mayfield and give like $50 million a year to Deshaun Watson. And now Baker Mayfield's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And Deshaun Watson, well, he's hanging out in a massage parlor getting his thigh worked on, probably.
Yeah, pit hole, fucking just sewage holes in New York. Dan Jones fails. Sewage hole in Cleveland, and it doesn't matter who's playing there. They all suck. They leave, and suddenly Baker leaves, and suddenly he's an all-pro. Go figure. Okay, final one, because this has been something that's been talked about all week. I think it's a stupid conversation, but because I've literally heard it talked about since Sunday nonstop, pretty much on any sports show I watch on the radio or listen to radio or watch online or any podcast, They're all talking about it, and I hate it. The tush push. Everybody outside of Philadelphia hates it. When Philly runs it, they are never called offsides or anything like that, or neutral zone infraction, nothing. Even though they constantly line up over the line and over the ball, it's shown on almost every.
Well, hell, in one game I saw both teams were lined up offsides.
Yeah, both teams were lined up, but the Eagles never get called for it. Other teams try it and they get called for it. So I don't know if it's just like, oh, in like a subconscious thing for refs. If they're like, oh,
well it's an illegal play in lower levels.
I don't understand why anyone would be upset about it. It's football. It's a football play.
It's not a football play.
It's totally legal.
It's not a football play, and it used to not be legal. It used to be called aiding the runner, which was illegal.
That's right. Reggie Bush, that was a big thing with Reggie Bush getting pushed into the end zone. I remember that back when he was back at USC.
Yeah, but at USC, it's still illegal. I mean, in high school football, it's illegal. It's not a football play. It's really not. It's a rugby play.
My thing is,
Mike, we'll let Michael decide.
My thing is if NFL teams don't like it, stop it. It's
no, that's bullshit though. You can't stop it because you basically got a bunch of fat guys pushing a little fast guy into the pile. That's not a football play.
Well, I mean, I don't get why everyone complains about it.
Because it was always illegal.
Well, then
you just picked your nose again. You picked your nose again.
I don't know why. If it's not a football play and it's so egregious and everybody outside of Philadelphia hates it, then why does the NFL have absolutely no interest in talking about it? I'm pretty sure
because the NFL likes that Philadelphia is good.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they've already declared that they're not going to review the tush push in the offseason. So unless something drastically changes over the next, over the remainder of the season,
well, you know what?
I don't know why the NFL is so bullish on it, but
they turned to kickoffs. Yeah, I agree, Michael. I think I already said that. It's a rugby play. It's a different sports play, Dan. That would be like in rugby if all of a sudden a team decided to throw the ball forward and they caught it, got it, scored a try off of it, and then they just said, we're going to let that team do it, but anybody else that does it is illegal. I mean, it's just for shit.
I wouldn't have a problem with it even more if they just called it right. Like if Philly's going to line up offside, in the neutral zone or whatever, call them for it. Make them line up right. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe they're getting that little extra inch of leverage.
Well, the problem is this. All officiating at all levels of football is trash. It doesn't matter what level it is. The NFL's no better than high school. They're all trash. And the thing is, people always say, well, you have a hard time keeping, officials. Well, that's because most of them don't know the rules. The coaches know the rules better. The coaches scream at the officials, and the officials get butthurt and leave.
We've talked about the refereeing issue at length on this show.
They're all stupid, all of them, especially high school football. They're all stupid. You have to be stupid to be an official.
We've talked about this often. The only solution, and we've talked about it on this show, and we've talked about it off the air, the only solution is make these guys, like the refs, I don't know how we started the refs, but make the refs full-timers. Just make them full-time, make them learn the NFL rule book front and back, pay them full salaries. In the offseason, send them to referee training camp so they can learn how to make the calls better or whatever. But stop taking, guys who work 9 to 5.
How about this? Let me explain this here.
Plug them in.
In college football, in the rule book since 1950, it is stated, the runner shall not grasp or be pulled by any teammate nor pushed. Now, this is the thing, though. When you look up if it's legal, even though the rule says that, the NCAA has yet to outlaw the tush push, and it remains a legal tactic. Now, I can tell you this. You've already talked about it, but the reason the tush push is unstoppable is because they do not make them line up correctly. That is it. Because in college, you don't see that play all the time because it'll get called in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're giving the Eagles an unfair advantage because That's what they like to do. I guarantee you this. If it was the Cincinnati Bengals or the Cleveland Browns or the Detroit Lions that did it, it probably would have been outlawed when they started doing it.
Oh, dude.
Or they'd have just called them off sides all the time and it wouldn't have mattered.
I mean, I can't. You know what? that line about, if it was the Lions or the Bengals, like, I feel that in my soul.
Yeah, it's true. It's like the Bengals Super Bowl 23. The Bengals that entire year ran a no huddle offense, but then when they played the Bills in the AFC Championship game, Marv Levy was best friends with Don Shula, who was the head of the committee, the rules committee. So all of a sudden, the morning of the AFC Championship game, it was ruled that the Bengals offense was illegal, that they had used all year to get there. Because if you remember Super Bowl 23, the Bengals couldn't do much of anything on offense. And they lost the game 20-16, but they weren't allowed to run a no-huddle offense. They were allowed to run it, but if they were running no huddle, they had to allow the other team to substitute. So what's the sense of running it?
Exactly. But now, like, as a Lions fan, I still remember, like, insignificant plays over in the course, like over the grand scheme of things, like Calvin Johnson touchdown getting overturned when he caught it, took like 7 steps in the end zone, and they said it was an incomplete pass because instead of handing the ball to the ref, he put the ball on the floor, on the ground in the end zone, so they called it an incomplete pass. Or seeing like Ndamukong Suh get called for a roughing the passer when he was pushed and into the quarterback, and he fell backwards onto the quarterback.
There's been so many NFL games decided by officials. The Bengals Steelers in 2015, the wild card game, the Rams Saints no interference game. Hell, you could go back to 1977. Rob Lytle fumbles the ball a yard short of the goal line, but they call it a touchdown. And Al Davis and the Raiders don't go to the Super Bowl to try to defend their championship. Wonder why that happened? Because all that shit's a little fixed. Anything with that amount of money in it is a little fixed. But yeah, high school officials suck. And I just want anybody that's a high school official out there in Ohio, just know when you show up to my game, I think you suck. Prove me wrong.
I thought you were going to go the other way on that. I thought you were like, you know what? Any refs in Ohio, I think you guys doing a great job.
No, they suck. They know I think they suck. It's not a big deal. I tell them all the time. I mean, if you don't know the rules, just stay home. I mean, come on. We play a home game. The official gets each official gets $150. You can't do your job for one night on that.
Yeah, I think that's what like flag football referees get paid.
What?
Like $100, $120 or something.
I'm pretty sure flag football officials don't get paid.
No, they do. Absolutely.
What flag football league is this?
So I haven't. I mean, this was probably like a decade ago at this point, but I used to play flag football locally, and yeah, you would have to come to the game with like 10. Everyone on the team would come to the game with like $10 because that would be the refs' pay for that game or whatever.
I bet you're an awesome flag football player, weren't you?
Actually, yes, I was, because it was 7-man and 7 or 8.
You were the center.
We had 3 guys on the line. Nope, I was QB, baby. We ran a nice West Coast offense, a lot of slants, a lot of bubble screens, a lot of handoffs.
You can't throw. Okay.
It was great. I was Chad Pennington out there. It was fantastic.
Chad Pennington actually was a really good quarterback, but he had all the arm injuries. But
it
was good enough. He took the Dolphins and the Jets to the playoffs.
That he did.
That should probably get you a Hall of Fame. All right.
I think it was no. Chad Pennington didn't get the Dolphins to the playoffs because the last time they
went 10-6 though, didn't they? And missed
they won 10 games, but they didn't make the playoffs.
All right, Dan. Anything else?
I'm done. I'm done for this week. I'm ready for week 4.
All right. Well, wrap us up, Dan.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of TDs and Tangents. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe wherever you are online, share to your social media. It helps the show. It helps the website. We appreciate all the love.
We'll be here every Wednesday night at 9.
Be here every Wednesday, same time, same bat channel. I'm Dan Kornhauser from Mike Goodpaster. We'll see you guys next week.